Well, welcome viewers, this is Dr. J.W. Morrison, theologist, and this is our next segment in the NDIS situation. It is a mess. Guess who's on board? I cannot believe it. Bill Shorten has brought Senator Pauline Hanson on board with the NDIS.
Nation leader Pauline Hanson. Taking to something we don't see every day. Parliament House, the NDIS Minister Bill Shorten and One Nation leader Pauline Hanson holding a joint news conference. It's on the NDIS. Let's have a listen in.
Senators, I've been talking with Senator Pauline Hanson. She has always been pretty firm and clear with me that she thinks that things need to be straightened up. But I'm really pleased today that she's willing to add her voice about the need to move on parts of reforming the NDIS, because as you can see from our out-of-touch cost of living clock, since the Coalition and their Green allies have delayed this bill for another 8 weeks, we now see the cost to the taxpayer is $137 million and climbing. But why don't I hand over to Senator Hanson, and then we could take questions.
Thank you very much.
Well, this is going to put the wind up all the NDIS crooks. Hanson ain't going to muck around. She'll put things into immediate action. I've never seen Labor or Liberal invite Pauline Hanson into anything. In fact, I think they got her locked up way back or something like that, whatever the reason was. Pauline Hanson, look out NDIS crims.
Since I was first informed about the NDIS in 2016, my first year in Parliament here, returned to Parliament I should say, I was approached by mothers that brought their disabled children here. It was heartfelt and I knew their concerns. Their whole issue was who would be there to look after my children when I am no longer here to do it. So it's important for the scheme and what it stands for and what it represents. Over the years I have seen the complete waste of taxpayers' dollars. People that are on the scheme, chronic fatigue, people who shouldn't be on the scheme. It's just been, it has...
Well, there you go. That's every day. Bill Shorten and Pauline Hanson support shoring up for reform to the NDIS, basically. It looks like widespread agreement. It needs reining in on some of the costs, but the Liberal Party have been dragging their feet, saying they want to see more detail. Andrew?
I think this is interesting because Bill Shorten's ally, Tanya Plibersek, did the same thing last year with David Van on water legislation. It's like, he doesn't even have the numbers in the Senate, yet he's making this big show. Look at me, the great Senate negotiator, and his mate Tanya Plibersek did the same.
It's an interesting
tactic. No, it doesn't. So it's an interesting tactic. I guess he's trying to put pressure on the Libs, but...
Make some within Labor uncomfortable, the optics of standing next to...
Well, David Van probably made people feel more uncomfortable, but sure.
Did it? Well, here we go. Here's a good opportunity. We've got a Queensland Labor MP who's wandered in. Did it make you uncomfortable? What did you make of that, Graham?
I've been on a committee with Senator Hanson. She's a Queensland senator, so she's my senator. There you go, I said it. And obviously she does have people in her party who understand the incredible significance of getting NDIS right, getting the costings right, and these reforms that have been delayed and costing more. She'd rather have that into, like any sensible Queenslander, she'd rather have that into people with disabilities.
Let's catch up with One Nation leader Pauline Hanson now joins us live from Canberra. Good to speak to you again, Pauline. Fascinated today, this afternoon, in fact, to see you sharing a podium with Bill Shorten. You're going to help Bill Shorten out to try and fix the NDIS. You've said before that the NDIS is a scam. So how are you getting along with Bill Shorten to fix it?
I said that the NDIS is wasting money, taxpayers' dollars. I don't disregard the NDIS. I think it's a very important scheme that we have for those people who are truly in need of it and are disabled, not those ones who are ripping the guts out of it and taking money from it. I've worked closely with Bill Shorten's office since he...
Sorry, viewers.
was elected again to be the minister under this portfolio. Now, prior to that, I worked with the previous two ministers, which I thought they were absolutely hopeless. Bill Shorten, I've been on his back about this. Now, today, he's included me in this. I want to see changes. What he's done in this legislation, I totally agree with. Look, do you know that they're paying... Chris, I'll tell you some things they were paying for on this NDIS scheme. Cigarettes, alcohol, fuel bills, petrol, sex toys, pools, pool heaters, fines, court costs. This is what people are claiming. Cruises, holidays. It is unbelievable. So under the part of this bill, in a regulation, you won't be able to get...
So what would you rather be on, the NDIS or Social Security?
that paid for under the NDIS scheme. Another part of it is people who run out of their money, their payment, they just won't automatically get a top-up. Also, what I've been on about, Chris, is people who can get up to an hourly rate of about $195 an hour under NDIS. Under everyone else, it's around about $80 to $120 an hour. That now has been frozen, so they cannot charge these ridiculous amounts to the general public, which puts pressure on the vets and also...
She's immediately frozen it.
So the general public.
It's insane.
This is a start.
You've got to start. It is insane. Our taxes paying for prostitutes and sex toys, for crying out loud, and all the rest of it.
And it's fact. It's not a joke. It's a fact.
But as you mentioned, I'm glad you're working with the government to try and sort it out. I've got to get your thoughts on this new organisation.
Yeah, but Chris, also, the coalition has to come on board with this because they need it. The Greens are not going to support this, so they need the coalition. And I'm calling on Peter Dutton to actually put your amendments forward, speak to the government about this, get it passed as soon as possible because it's important, because every time that goes by, it's another $1 billion down the line.
No doubt.
Did you know it's costing $1 million an hour while they're postponing these amendments? $1 million an hour. NDIS is costing while they're postponing these amendments.
Yeah, they will and they have to, but just remember when they were in government, every time they tried to fix the NDIS, Labor refused to cooperate and Labor said that they were trying to, with unfair cuts. So it is a mess, but I'm glad you're involved in it.
So, guys, Pauline Hanson is now involved in the NDIS fix-up. And that's going to rattle all the corrupt providers. And I'll just wrap this video up. Bill Shorten loses it with extraordinary rant about cuddle therapy on the NDIS as he strikes shock deal with Pauline Hanson. Oxygen stealingly dumb. Bill Shorten slammed coalition as oxygen stealingly dumb. He was furious about delays in NDIS law reforms. Bill Shorten has launched an extraordinary attack on the coalition over days to laws reforming the NDIS. One day after striking a deal with Pauline Hanson to make sure the Disability Insurance Agency is used only by people in need. During question time on Thursday, Mr. Shorten blew up about NDIS-funded tarot cards and cuddle therapy and slammed the opposition as oxygen stealingly dumb for stalling on the law reforms. Mr. Shorten, who is the NDIS minister, was asked in the House of Representatives on Thursday about the risks of delaying Labor's legislation to delay reforms to the schemes that would ultimately change the way recipients receive their allowance. Well, it's getting heavy, really, really heavy. The proposal would also curb a top-up payment scheme and curtail the therapies available on the NDIS. According to Mr. Shorten, it would save taxpayers more than $1 billion. So far, the legislation has been blocked in the Senate by members of the coalition who have taken 3 months to consider the changes and have now asked for a further 8 weeks. And remember, it's costing $1 million an hour. These postponements are costing taxpayers $1 million an hour. So far, the legislation has been blocked in the Senate by members of the coalition. On Thursday, Shorten thanked the 400,000 disability workers who received pay rises, tax cuts and energy relief this financial year. However, he slammed the current scheme as unsustainable. Well, they've got Pauline Hanson on board. Let's see what happens over the next couple of months.